All right, welcome back to another episode of the Good Time Podcast. I'm Anthony. This is Joe. The Good Time
What's up?
Podcast is brought to you by Rocklocks. We're here with another episode. We're going to talk about some really interesting stuff, the Yamaha EAD 10 and EAD 50, and then we're going to answer some questions. Before we get started, make sure to head over to Spotify, leave us a 5-star review, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and leave a comment, please. Ask any questions you want to hear. We're going to continue to answer listeners' questions because we have a really good time with it. So, yeah, let's get right to it. So, Joe and I were talking about, Joe just got a Yamaha EAD 50, okay? It's a lot
Stoked.
more, yeah, how much do those things run for?
Oh, dude, I think they're like 2 grand.
Damn, did you buy one or did they send you one?
They sent me one to review. I'm making a video right now. I haven't dove really deep into it yet, but I got like a good first impressions of it. It's pretty sweet.
Okay, cool. Okay, so your first impressions, like, is it a whole lot different than the EAD 10 as far as like the functionality? Because it seems to me like the EAD 10 became so popular because um, it just gave any drummer in any room a very quick way because you can plug it straight into your iPhone or whatever phone you have, and you can just instantly make content basically. And I think that's why the EAD 10 has like won so hard. What are the major differences between the 50 and the 10?
I will say it's a proper upgrade. Like I remember us even talking about this months ago. You were like, "Oh, I know they're cooking up. They got to be cooking up like a version 2." They were all along, and I talked to them about that too, but they definitely made it. Like if you're familiar with the EAD, you'll fall right into this and pretty much know everything. I mean, there's more to it, but it has like a wider range of how you can get it to sound with this.
Is it as like mobile? Because one of the things about the EAD 10 that people love is that it's a relatively small rig to bring around to do drum cams, like on tour, for example.
Yeah. No, this is more of like a stay at home thing. I mean, you could bring it on the road, but I think the EAD 10 is still perfect for that. And this is more of like your at home. It's geared more to like hook up more mics to it and use it as a proper interface so you can do real recordings with it and still make that quick, easy content the same way, you know? But it's a proper
Okay.
upgrade.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to try it myself because to me, like when I was like you said a months ago when we were talking about like I had a theory they were cooking up a second version of it. My thought was like same idea, like same size, just sounding better basically. Like how good can they make it sound? But it sounds like they just made a kind of a whole new thing that can kind of do both. But let's go back to the EAD 10 for a second. So I actually had an EAD 10 for a while, and I ended up getting rid of it. And did I get rid of it because I like needed the money? No, I got rid of it just because I was like, I don't know what actual function I have for this anymore, and I'll explain why. I got so tired of watching taking drum cams and then like crawling into my bunk after the show and like watching these drum parts and just being like, dude, it just sounds the same every time. And like, I messed with it a little bit. I'd mess with the reverb, I messed with the compression, but there's not a lot you can do with it. And every EAD kind of has that EAD sound, and I think part of it is the triggered kick drum. I even put my own kick sample in there. Didn't really seem to change much.
Did you use the compressor?
Yeah, like on it, just the compression
Yeah,
knob.
like
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
popular setting, and I think that is another thing. What makes everything sound the
Oh,
same?
you're talking about like the preset compressor setting or whatever.
Yeah, there's like the verb
Yeah,
and then the effect.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
how
I
did you use
mean,
it? Just raw, or what did you?
I would just I can't remember what setting I put on. I just try to make it as basic as possible, and then
Yeah.
I would just manually mess around with the compression and reverb, and I would just add a little bit, not
Mm,
much. Just like you
okay.
would, honestly, just like I would when I record real drums, because I don't like a lot of effects. Like I like drums to sound like drums, and I think that's my problem with the EAD is it doesn't make drums sound like drums.
I feel
Like
you.
it sounds like something else. And I'm not gonna sit here and knock it because I do see it as a really valuable tool. For example, especially for like newer drummers who are like, dude, all I got is 400 or 500 bucks to invest in something like this, and you know, I just want to take it on the road and pump out drum cams, dude.
Yep.
By all means, like
It
I
captures
am
the
not.
playing perfectly, you know?
It totally does, and it kind of depends on the thing too. Like for example, Eloy uses one, but for some reason with Slipknot it works because that clicky kick drum sound totally works. And then he cranks his snare, and when
Yeah.
you crank
Singing.
your snare, it actually sounds better on an EAD, in my opinion. Like a low tuned snare sounds a little funky with an EAD. Um, but I just kind of got to a point where I was so sick of hearing the same thing over and over again that I was just like, look, I'm gonna set up something different at home. So I got home, I bought a 4 channel interface that's actually nice, and I set up 3 microphones, and I just have it sounding awesome in there. And it's like I could pump out drum videos at home that way, and then on the road, I'll just use iPhone videos, and I don't know,
Dude,
man. I
the
just don't
iPhone
really.
videos crush, actually. They
If
sound good.
Well, that's the thing. When you're in an arena, when you can have the drums be far enough away from the kit, like if you're basically like 20, 30 feet back from the kit, like to the left or the right, kind of at an angle, the drum sound can sound really good depending on what room you're in. Um,
Sure.
if you set up a camera right next to your hi hats, it's not really
Yeah.
going to work. But
I know.
I have yeah, I have a theory that the technology on this is going to really improve. I think that like mobile microphones that can kind of pick up a lot more are going to improve. I think that just the microphone on the iPhone is going to take like massive leaps in the next couple of years. But all this to be said, I was tired of my videos sounding like everybody else's, so
You do kick, snare, and overhead or something?
that's it. Kick out,
Okay.
snare top, and just one mono overhead, like straight over my shoulder. That's just kind of pointing at the snare and the toms. And to be honest, bro, like I just posted a video yesterday, just playing normal groove.
Sound great.
Thank you. That's a lot of. That's not a lot going on, man. It's just not a lot going on there.
So do you have to
It's
mix
minute.
it yourself too?
My brother helped me put together like a basic Logic template, but it's using all stock Logic plugins, nothing crazy. If you know how to make drums sound good and you know how to play them well, you don't really need much to record them well. It's quite easy to record drums at that point.
And it's still easy
And
to make a
so,
video too. Is it just as easy as the
yeah.
EAD?
Oh, no. So that's the downside is that there's one extra step. So I have to like record it, bounce it out of Logic, and then open it up in CapCut and like line it up. But I
Okay.
mean, honestly, that takes like 5 minutes. It doesn't really take that much time. And the way I have the mic set up, it's very easy to just kind of if I need to change the rig around or like add a cymbal or whatever, like I'm not overkilling. My room is 7 by 8 feet, so I can't have a bunch of mic stands in there. It's just too much.
Yeah.
But anyway, keep me up to date on the Yamaha EAD 50. I'm really curious to see some more like videos and like more importantly hear kind of what it sounds like. It's kind of a bummer to me that they didn't just like supercharge the EAD 10 because I think they missed the mark because the EAD 10 the whole reason that's one is because it's so mobile. It's meant for like on the go quick videos like I don't know, but maybe turning it into an interface and adding a bunch of mics to it is a cool idea. I'm not sure.
Well, it honestly surprised me too when it came out because once I saw the price, I was like 2 grand, whereas the EAD was like what 500 or 600 bucks. I
Yeah.
immediately was like,
I
oh,
got
this
I
is
got
like
mine
it's different.
I got mine used for 400.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
like yeah, and I think I sold it for 400 or
Oh, nice.
something. 425, 450, I don't know, something like that.
Oh,
A
even
really
if you
nice
made a
kid.
couple bucks, what's up?
Yeah. A really nice kid on Facebook Marketplace hit me up and he was like so psyched on it. He was like, I finally get to make drum videos at home. And I was like, dude, perfect. This is like for you. This is something
Yeah.
for you, you know?
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
think
curious
from,
what you would think with the EAD 50 because just the short amount of time I've messed with it so far, it sucks you in. Like there's way more going on in terms of just like tweaking the sound than you get with
cool.
the EAD. So I'm curious what you would think of it because how long? What you had yours for only like a few months or something, and I saw you
No,
posted it, and I was like, oh, he's already getting rid of it.
I probably had it for like a year and a half or a year.
Oh, wow, okay,
Maybe a year, maybe a year.
that's
Because I
fair.
took it on like 1 or 2 Hollywood Undead tours, and then I took it on like
A Daughtry tour?
2 or 3 Daughtry tours, and then I got rid of it.
Oh, damn, you
Yeah.
had it way longer than I thought. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
It
setup
was
you have
enough.
now is killer. So
Yeah, and it was just enough. Like, I don't know, dude. It's like I think I think here's another thing I will say before we move on from this. If I was playing in a project that had really complicated, crazy drumming, it might be a more interesting tool to have on the road because there'd be a bunch of parts throughout the set that are like wild. That an EAD when you're playing hard and fat, like especially when you're playing fast, you know, an EAD works just fine. I feel like when you're playing like you know open-ended music, it's not really the right sound. It's like I want my drums to sound like fat and beefy and like awesome, and you know, it's not like it sounded bad. It's just the same sound over and over again, and I don't know. I was just kind of over it.
yeah, no, I never even
So
thought of it like that. That's a good point because like when the metal kids are playing and the hardcore dudes like use the EAD, it
exactly,
sounds perfect.
the snare's pinging anyway. Your kicks sound like they're triggered anyway, so it doesn't really
Right.
matter.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So let's move on to some listener questions. So this is going to be really fun because I just love talking about the journey. So somebody asked on Spotify. You can leave the comments on Spotify or on YouTube, by the way. We'll read them. So somebody said, would love to hear about drum techs. Like, at what level do you get a drum tech, and what is the relationship like between you and your drum tech? Any funny stories you guys might have? Anyway, thanks for what you both do.
Great question.
Um, okay, so I'll start here. To this day, I've still done more tours without a drum tech than with one. So I didn't get my first real drum tech until I was probably 32
What band?
or 33. It was with Hollywood Undead.
Oh,
So I teched myself through Being as an Ocean. I even teched myself with Falling in Reverse in 2018. We were two of four on a tour, on an arena tour. And in hindsight, if I could go back in time, I would have negotiated a drum tech. But I think I was just so happy to get the gig, and that I didn't really care. And also, like, just logistically, playing arenas without a drum tech is kind of wild because the other three bands had drum techs. The opener had it. There was a band before us, Escape the Fate. Oh no, I'm sorry, The Devil Wears Prada. And The Devil Wears Prada, I'm pretty sure, had a drum tech or like a dual backline tech of some sort. But
yeah.
anyway, fast forward to I got the Hollywood Undead gig, and the first like two tours I did were with no drum tech. And then I negotiated a drum tech, and it was a buddy of mine, and he had never drum tech before. He's a great guitar player. His name's Nick. He plays guitar in that band of Void. I basically called him.
Oh,
I
I
was like,
love
"Look,
Avoid.
man,
They're
yeah,
dope.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love Nick." And I was like, "Listen, man, you're my dog. You learn quickly. You can play just enough drums that you can like hit the drums. I can teach you how to tune them. That's easy. I could teach you how to polish cymbals, but we don't really. I don't even like whatever." I was like, basically, you just need to build the kit and take it down. I'll even help like change the heads until you like really get a hang of it and you want to do it. I just like mostly need somebody to take the drums down at the end of the night because like I'm just getting to that part of my career. And then
Tearing down drums after a gig is the worst, bro. So
it's
yeah,
the
I feel
worst,
that.
dude. Yeah, yeah. And then he couldn't do the next tour, so I found a different drum tech, Ashley Green, who used to play in Holding Absence. So he came
Yeah.
out and did it. He did a tour in Europe with us. He's the man. And then I got the Daughtry gig. Actually, wait. Then I went to Australia, and I did Shiprocked, and then went to Australia with Hollywood Undead, and both of those deals, no drum tech. I was teching myself, and that was early 2025. That was like barely a year ago, just over a year ago. I was playing shows without a drum tech. So
You've had multiple different drum techs, obviously, right? So when you get
that's
a
right.
new drum tech, and like say Nick, the guitar player, you got to run through and teach them basically exactly how you set it up. And do they get it perfect, or do you ever sit down and you have to like, oh, I got to tweak this floor tom angle? How
Yeah,
close do they get it?
I mean, because I teched myself for so long, I really got my rig super dialed in. So like all I had to do was just show him like, hey, this is how I like it. I've already memory locked all the cymbal stands. I've labeled the cymbal stands 1 through 4. They go stage left to stage right. Here I have those hooves that you can just put on the carpet, right? And then I showed him how I like my toms tuned with a tune bot. That like I've developed I kind of have a method that like I could pretty much teach anybody. And then I was like, just do it, try it out, see how it goes. And I remember the first time he did it, I sat down and I was like, damn, bro, pretty close. Like
Nice.
we're almost there. Made a couple small tweaks. And then by like 4 or 5 shows in, dude, he was like locked in. Like
Yeah.
Nick is the man. Nick is the type of guy who could, you know, if you know how to tour and you have self-awareness, I feel like drum teching is not really that like drum teching at a basic level is not that hard. Drum teching at an elite level though, that's where things get a little bit different. And that's how we can talk about like Andrew and Daughtry and stuff. Just because the thing that separates a guy like Andrew from Nick, I love them both so dearly. So I'm not like I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying that like Andrew has spent his life playing drums, so he knows drums inside and out. Versus Nick is a guitar player. He's like a sick ass guitar player. So to go back to the question, at what point do you get a drum tech? You get a drum tech when it becomes necessary. Honestly, when it becomes one of those things that you're playing a lot of shows, you're on these long tours, and logistically, it's very difficult to play without one. That's where it becomes a necessity. Just because, like, how are you supposed to get to the venue at 8 in the morning and build your whole rig, and then go take a nap, come back, play a show? Because sometimes these are like you're playing at a festival to a lot of people, and the band and the singer and stuff are back at a hotel. They're not going to wake up and come to the venue at 9 a.m. So if you're the drummer with no drum tech and you have to wake up at 8 a.m. and which I've done this before on gigs. So, yeah, that's really how it works. And then I wanted to add one thing here. If I got hired, I feel like at some level you could bring your drum tech with you. It just depends. Like, I don't know. Like if Paul McCartney hired me to play drums for him, he would probably go, "Hey, we have a drum tech, but if you want to bring your own guy, you can also bring your own guy." I didn't. When I got hired by Daughtry, I didn't push that envelope or ask about it. I just trusted that they had a good guy. I was like, I'm just happy I got the gig. I'll show up. Let's just see how this goes. And then Andrew is just the best. He's the man.
Dude.
He's the best. And he's such an amazing drum tech. And so, he's kind of set the bar of like what drum teching is to me. I'm
Dope.
really grateful for him. And as far as like funny stories, man, Andrew, there's nobody, he's so funny, bro. But like something funny he'll do sometimes is like if he knows I'm having a tough show, if he knows I'm just like, I don't know, I had a bad day, or just like I'm not playing my best or something, dude, in between songs he'll just be in the talkback mic saying like funny ass shit to me. which is I think a lot of times, I think he would tell you this if he was on here. We'll bring Andrew on here, but
Yeah, we have to.
We have to bring Andrew on here. One of the he'll tell you this himself is like, I think a part of being a drum tech or guitar tech, oftentimes you're like a morale guy. You kind of have to, which is challenging in itself because you're working all day, you have a lot of stuff to do, and you might be having a bad day, but it's so important that the show goes well that, just for that hour that we're on stage, Andrew has to be just of service basically. And your drum tech's just sitting there staring at you the entire show, making sure that there's not one thing. He could probably see in my body language at this point if something's going wrong. Like, so I hope that answers the question. Do you think that answers the question? I don't know.
No, that's cool, man. So like for me, I don't even have I've never had a drum tech actually until now. We finally hired a crew guy in the Dropout Kings crew, and he's driving, and he's doing like merch, and he's helping me set up. So like I've
Cool.
had the load taken off, but yeah, I guess it just become like Anthony said. I'll double down on that when it's necessary. Which in my situation, I guess it's not. But then again, money is a factor too because we could hire more people, but then we would come home with less money for tour. You know what I mean?
A
So
100%.
you got to consider that. If you have the
It's
money and you want to hire a tech, then I mean, bring a
Yeah.
crew. You know?
So Joe, that's what's cool about having Joe's side of the story as well as mine is that Joe is like, Joe is a his band is at that point where it's grown a lot and it's making a transition, and during this chapter of the band's careers when they have to make these types of decisions, and you see it happen all the time. I mean, and the bands who are smart with their money, it's like, do they want to come home with some money or do they not want to come home with some money? And
Yeah.
um, I think once you kind of get to the national touring, like, you know, kind of bigger level or whatever, it just literally becomes necessary. Like I remember being
Absolutely.
young, yeah, I remember younger thinking like, can't these guys just set up their own drums? I mean, they're already like making a bunch of money and playing arenas. Like, come on, it's not that hard. But then you realize that it's like logistically nearly impossible. Um,
Yeah.
so so yeah, and you know, Andrew is my dog. I have a great relationship with him. If Andrew didn't, if he left for another gig or you know went and started because he plays a great drummer, so if he got a playing gig or something, I know enough drum techs at this point and enough homies that I would just go hire another friend. I want it to be somebody who's a friend of mine. I don't want it to be just some random
Facts.
person that I don't know. I'd
Yes.
rather because
Yeah.
I want it to be someone I want to hang out with. Because like me and Andrew hang out. We hang out on off days. We hang out. I'll go onto the crew bus after
Yeah. He's the
shows and
homie.
kick it with them. Yeah. So
Yeah. Wait, have you
anyway,
ever had any like disaster since you've been with Daughtry to where Andrew saved the day? Like anything crazy happen besides a snare breaking? Bass drum almost
uh,
fall off a thing or
yeah,
something?
snare drums breaking for sure. Yeah, I've snapped a few lugs in the last year that
Oh, that's right. You're a
Andrew's had.
lug
And
breaker.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Andrew's had
Smashing.
to. Andrew's had to save the day a couple times on that. He's had to just dealing with logistics. Like we got to bring him on and ask him this question because
Yeah, sure.
honestly, just the logistics that he has to deal with behind the scenes. Like if it's a venue with a bad load in,
Oh,
that
dude,
type of
I got to
stuff.
hear the stories. Like, or
Yeah,
just his
that's
day-to-day
that.
life out there.
Yeah, because he does stuff. Because like it's kind of his job. Like he protects me from a lot of that stuff, which is like such a cool thing about him. But it's also like kind of a part of the job where like the crew is sort of like they kind of protect the band from the bad stuff, so
They're
that
so
the vibes are
important.
high. They take a
Yeah.
lot on their shoulders. You know what I mean? So that the
Hmm.
band can like be in a good headspace before a big show. And
Yep.
yeah, man. And so let me think of another. Oh, he's changed cymbals mid show. Cymbals have cracked mid show, and he's
Okay.
changed
So
them.
he's
But
swapping out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Nice.
dude, you know what? He's so good, and we have the rig so dialed that very few issues go happen. So
Yeah, true.
knock on wood for that. Okay.
Yeah, facts.
Next question.
What else we got?
Here we go. You start with this one. How did you get into the scene? I struggle to find people to play with all the time.
Yeah, this is a good one because I feel like me and you, Anthony, have pretty different like ways of how we kind of got known. Dude, it started with me in 2020. I just used social media because during that
Yeah.
time, during the pandemic, social media and content was like booming and so many
Massive.
opportunities were coming from it. So I kind of just slipped in like a lot of people start from the ground, which Anthony, his perspective will give you that, side of it. But most people are building up, and I kind of just slipped in because of social media and then just got in the mix. Whereas I don't
But
think
like
that
back,
happens as much anymore.
it doesn't. And back when you were like a kid, when you were younger, when you were like a teenager or in your early 20s, were you hitting people up to play in bands? Like, how did you get in bands back then?
Okay, well back then, yeah. So yeah, well my story it's a bit different because like I started off as a kid loving drums, and I played in just a couple bands with kids at school, that type stuff. But then I became a bad kid, and I got into like drugs and stuff, and I completely didn't even care about drums for like a massive chunk of time. Like 10 years, I didn't care about drums. Once I straightened out again, I broke back in the scene. But just
I
for
became a
social
bad
media.
kid.
Yeah, I jumped back in the scene, but with social media. So I didn't really do the proper, like, I mean, I was in bands, but it was just kids at school and stuff. You know, my dad hooked
Sure.
me up with a couple musicians
So,
because he was
so, dro-
popular in the city. So,
so Dropout Kings found you on Instagram, or vice
yeah,
versa. Oh
yeah,
wow. Okay, I actually didn't even know that. So there you go. I'm learning shit. So
yeah.
so I read this question kind of like I read this as if it came from somebody who's either new to playing drums or young, or both. Um, and I remember being in college, late in college, really wanting to play, and I went to Craigslist. Now this was
Mm.
2010 or 9 or something, but I went to Craigslist and I just started like constantly, like not every day, but once a week or something, I'd log in and type in like drummer, drumming, drums, like just seeing who needed a drummer, whatever. I remember going out and trying out for a band that I just wasn't good enough to play in. I remember
You embarrass
just
yourself.
like, yeah, embarrassed myself. And then I was about to study abroad in Australia anyway. So they were like, hey, man, I think they were nice about it. Like, hey, so like, you're about to leave soon. So we can't really like have a drummer who's not fully committed. You're going to be gone for 6 months. But I think in reality, it was like, dude, you can't really,
You
you're not really
suck,
good
dude.
enough yet. Um, and, but literally Craigslist, but I ended up like playing at a gospel church through Craigslist. So that was cool. And I
Oh
would
wow.
drive up to Everett from Seattle and play gospel music. That was
Every
really
Sunday?
fun. Not every Sunday, but I probably did it like, I don't know. I didn't do it a ton. I would say maybe like 5 to 10 times total. But it was just like good experience to just have to show up and like figure it out on the spot. A lot of
That's
improvising, a
cool.
lot of crazy stuff. Um,
It's a great way to learn.
I
Just get thrown in the mix.
Yep. Um, I met a guy on Twitter one time who I just liked his music. He was a local like musician. I hit him up. I think I was just not afraid to ask people if they wanted a drummer. And this is kind of what I would say my advice here is. There are low level bands and artists and stuff who need drummers. Everybody, especially at that level, everybody needs a good drummer. So if you feel like you have what it takes to play for that particular band, just go into it with no expectations. Go into it not thinking about money. Just like get out and play. So today, if I was like 20 years old today, I'd be looking on like Instagram. I'd be looking on maybe Facebook or TikTok. Um, and I would be looking out at like for local ads at like local rehearsal spots, like drummer needed for this thing, and just like say yes to a bunch of different stuff and
Mhm.
just figure out what you like and what sticks and play some pop, play some church music, play some metal bands, play in a
Go to
rock
an
band,
open
like
jam.
go to an open jam. Like to me, it's all about just getting out there and playing. And if you're struggling to find people to play, I'm gonna take a bet that there's someone in your town who's also struggling to find somebody to play. And if you're actually
Absolutely.
serious about playing the drums or whatever instrument you play, somebody's gonna want to play with you. So just
Make yourself
put yourself
available.
make yourself available. Say yes to a lot of stuff.
That's solid advice right there.
Yeah. All right. Last question, then we'll get up on out of here. This is sorry for the shorter episode today. Me and Joe, see, we need to
We're
get on a
old and
better
tired, man.
schedule. Yeah, we're old and tired.
Yeah, dude. Come on, we're
This
35, dude.
this
Come on,
podcast is
be
about having
cool.
a good time,
Yeah,
and we're having a good time.
that's right.
But I'm about to leave tomorrow to go very early tomorrow morning to go to Miami. I'm going on the Creed cruise.
Oh, you are?
So yeah, so when I'm gone, I'm
Oh,
gonna have a couple days off in Puerto Rico, and I'll be in some hotels like with downtime. So we should be able to knock out one more. We'll see.
cool.
But I probably won't have this microphone with me. That's the downside. We'll see. We'll see if I fly with it or not. But if not, I'll just use the MacBook microphone or whatever. But
Yeah, it'll get us through
okay,
an episode.
yeah. Okay, last question. What was the breakthrough moment in your career? All right,
Mm.
why don't you lead off with this one, and then I'll wrap this one up.
The breakthrough moment, man. Honestly, part of me feels like I'm still waiting for that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
love
okay.
just
That's a good answer.
yeah, you know, I feel like I've done a lot, and I've definitely had moments where I've broken through. So I mean, I can talk about those, but I love
Yeah,
just being on the
what's
journey.
one where you feel like what was a like an endorsement or like one of those
Mm,
Drumeo awards or like was there a moment that you kind of felt like okay this is I feel validated in this space.
yeah, honestly, the first one was the getting endorsed with Peisty
Mm-hmm.
because I loved Peisty cymbals, and I
Mm-hmm.
hit them up, and I wanted to be on their team. The minute they brought me on, dude, that was like I was like, oh my god, I'm famous, dude. I'm a famous drummer now. I'm on the website. I thought it was like all cool.
Yeah.
And it was, but yeah, probably getting all the endorsements, and then just like the tours, and I want to say probably that Peisty endorsement. If I had to narrow it down to one thing,
What
that's probably what it
when you're
was.
when you're out playing shows, do kids come out to the shows who are like, um, are there kids who are like fans of yours from like do people ever like come out to just to see you play drums because they
Yeah,
follow the cowboy
a
drummer?
lot, dude.
Oh, that's
I get
cool. That's
every
cool.
night. I get a lot. I have my own like set of fans, and
That's
there it
cool.
goes. It's
That's
cool,
cool.
bro. I see cowboy drummer shirts out there, and I was like, oh
No
shit,
shit.
my
That's
people. Yeah,
cool,
it's
man.
cool. And that's I've seen that grow over time, tour after tour. Like the first couple tours, there wasn't many, and then there would be a couple, and now there's like 10 or
That's
so, like
great.
every night.
That's
It's really
great.
sweet.
That's great. Dude, that's gonna pay dividends down the road. Just when the band starts doing really big rooms and you can do like group drum lessons or like group drum clinics or whatever, like
Yeah, dude.
that can be a
Yeah,
really cool angle, man. Like,
yeah.
a few hours before the show, do a hour long drum hang with Joe or whatever. So,
Sick. I would love to
um,
get there. How about you, man? Let's hear.
yeah,
When was your like breakthrough moment
okay.
when you thought you were famous?
I've had I've had I've had a few throughout my career. The one thing I do want to cover here is that I think any person who's successful at anything is going to have many breakthroughs and many ass whoopings. You're going
Mm,
to kind of get both. And because it's going to be breakthrough and then ass whooping and then breakthrough and
that's
then
right.
ass whooping and then and I would say the first one I ever got was when the one where I felt like okay, somebody's given me a chance was when I got the Being as an Ocean gig in 2017. So Jesse Shelley was playing drums for them. He's the man, great drummer. He just left to go play in a different band. He plays in He Is Legend. It was like his favorite band or something. He's like, dude, I got asked to play in He Is Legend. Like, I'm gonna go do that.
Oh, that's tight.
And he's been in that band since. Um,
That's sick.
and he's the man. And he left Being as an Ocean. And leading up to that point, I had been in touch with the guys in the band and just been like, yo, if you hear of anybody who needs a drummer, like I'm just trying to get out and tour. I just want to get on the road. Like I don't care about money. I just like
Put
pay me
yourself
whatever you
out
were
there.
yeah,
Make
paying
yourself
me whatever
felt.
you were paying the last guy. I trust you. I don't care. Just let me go tour. Which, by the way, I think that has to be your attitude for your first real thing. Way, way, way later down the road, you can start negotiating and doing real things like that. But generally speaking, you kind of just got to take what you can get at the beginning.
Yeah.
But at this point, I had been playing in a bunch of local acts. So that was breakthrough number one. Breakthrough number two was uh, when Falling called me, and I did a couple tours of Falling in Reverse because that was sort of like I did my first arena tour in 2018, and that was
With
like
falling?
yeah. Now, granted, we were playing like 30-minute sets or something, but either way, I was playing arenas, and I was like, okay, I can handle this. Like I feel like I'm in here. Like that's when I met Papa Roach. That's when I met A Day to Remember, and I got kind of praise
How
from
did
a
they
couple
call
guys.
you? Like you were in Being as an Ocean. Did you tour with them and meet those
No.
guys?
So Christian, who played guitar and Falling in Reverse, who still plays in the band, him and I had just met. Like we met through somebody mutual, and we hung out at NAM like 2014 or some shit, 15. I don't know. Him and I were both in the same boat. We're both like, we want to tour, we want to do it. He played guitar, I played drums, but like neither of us knew how. He's from like Louisville, Kentucky or something, and so anyway, yeah, they needed a drummer, and they called me, and I did that, and then it was a lot of years of pain because I walked away from that situation, and then COVID happened, and then I didn't know if it was ever if I would ever get a shot again, and I just kept my head down. I kept working. The final breakthrough was Hollywood Undead, and I got that call because Rewind was on tour with. I met Papa Roach. Jacoby had watched me play drums in 2018, and he's like, "Oh, this kid can play."
That's so sick.
Fast forward to 2022, I was drum teching for Papa Roach. Undead was on that tour. Undead's drummer left to go play for Big Time Rush. Jacoby's in Undead's ear going, "You guys have to hire Fat Tony. You have to do it."
Fat
So
Tony.
Yeah.
That's what they call you in the
called me
doctor
Fat.
camp too, right?
Yeah. Man,
That's your
I just,
name in the industry, bro. You're just known as Fat Tony.
It is. It is.
Fat
I'm going to get
Pocket
Fat Tony. I'm changing my signature drumsticks, and I'm putting Fat Tony on them.
Bro, you got to. That's
Yeah.
so sick.
But
Dude, it's so
Jacoby,
cool how you just got thrown in. Like you just put yourself
Yeah.
out there, dude, and just
you just
went
put,
up
yeah,
and
you just
met people.
Yeah,
and-
you just. It's a story of you keep putting yourself out there. You keep climbing the ladder one little step at a time, and when the right people watch you play drums, what happens is that when they hear of an opening, they go to the people they know. They go, "Oh my God, I met this kid. He knows how to play, and he's eager, and he wants to do it, and he's easy to tour with."
You left an
Now
impression
now
on
you're in
them
there.
because you're a good drummer.
Yeah.
See that you
Yeah.
got to practice your drums, guys. Don't just
You
post
do.
your Instagram video. Practice.
That's.
You have to be good.
Dude. Amen. Because Jacoby would not have done that if I sucked shit at drums. I promise you.
100%.
Because his ass would be on the line. But he knows a good
100%.
drummer when he sees a good drummer. He has Tony Palermo playing drums for him.
Facts.
He knows what a good drummer is.
Facts.
And so, yeah, you got to know how to play. And then, and then Hollywood Undead. And then, and then the most recent breakthrough was Daughtry, but which has been incredible and totally changed my life. But I feel like the Hollywood Undead breakthrough was really the big one that really put me into the echelon of like, okay, you're on national big tours constantly, playing big festivals constantly. You're kind of in the mix now. Then the Daughtry thing happens. Now I feel like I'm like really in the mix where it's like,
Yeah.
I
You're
really,
up-
I really
yeah.
feel, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a certain, and it feels awesome, man. And I hope for many more breakthroughs, and I'm sure there's many more ass whoopings on the way. So
100%. You already know they come paired, one after
They
another,
do.
bro.
They
Fucking
do.
dominoes.
Things have been too good. I'm like actually like on edge. I think something. I've had
That's
anxiety
scary
the
when
last
things
few
are too
days.
good.
I know. I'm like, fuck. What bad shit's about to happen?
Fuck.
No, you can't think negatively. You just gotta roll with it, man.
Absolutely,
So-
bro.
Anyway, all right. I hope that we answer some questions. Ask us more questions. Hit us with literally anything. This was really fun. Let's get this podcast grown so big that we can do like live calls with the listeners. You know what I mean? But we need like thousands of listeners before we get to that point. Before it gets to
Yeah.
the point where we can do a live call and have people ask questions on air and do a live pod that way. I think that'd be sick.
Dude, that would be a game changer.
Yeah.
You guys, share this pod with everyone you know. Please make
Yeah.
sure you give us
Yeah,
5 stars
exactly.
on Spotify, subscribe,
Yeah.
comment, ask us questions. Let's grow this thing, and we can do a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. We have another episode. Yeah, we got a couple on deck, so we're good for a while. But all right,
We'll see
talk
y'all
soon.
next
Thanks,
Monday.
guys. All right, later.
Peace.